Video games. If you want to play them, you have to buy them. Unless you're the scum of the earth. Have you actually tried emulating things? It's terrifying. That means it's time to buy a new game. How much you got? I've got some nickels. I have experience purchasing games. I love exchanging money for goods and services. But for most people, in order to do this, what you have to do is leave your house. A fate worse than death. GameStop. It's the one-stop shop for Funko Pop and also Sonic and the Secret Rings. I haven't experienced the heyday where GameStop mostly sold games, but I have bought Funko Pop when I was still into that. I have a bit of a collective personality. I first started collecting Skylanders. I had all of them for Skylander Spyro Adventures, then all the figures for Skylander Giants. Then I collected Amiibo for a bit. Then I had all the figures for Disney Infinity 1.0 and 2.0 and almost all of them for 3.0. And almost all of the LEGO Dimension figures. I have no idea how much was spent on all the games in total, but I found sources stating that everything for Skylander Spyro Adventure was $225, and Disney Infinity was $250, not including any of the power discs you could get separately, which I also had a bunch of. Each game is roughly $250, give or take 6 games. That's roughly $1,500, just on the vague ideas of those games. And the market price has only gone down. I've definitely calmed down since then. I have like 2 Amiibo now, only a few Funko Pop I take with me in display, and changed from collecting Funko to games, which makes it difficult going to GameStop and looking at all the Switch games. Here's my copy of Sayonara Wild Hearts. This is a game that I bought digitally for the Switch and already beat. When Doki Doki Literature Club Plus was first announced, I had a hard time stopping myself from getting it when the Steam version was $15 cheaper. And now that I have 100% completed the game, I have an even harder time not getting it. Same with Omari. I love those games, and seeing the physical versions makes me want to get it, so I have a physical version of the game. But both versions are twice as much as what I paid for them, and spending $60 on 2 games I've already played and beat is a waste of money. I've also had this problem with the Galgun Collector's Editions. I've never played Galgun, and the only reason I would spend the $70 to $100 on the collection editions would be because it's funny. Maybe because it's sexual and I try not to be a sexually driven person. I'm failing, but at least I don't own Galgun. Yet. But enough about not buying games, let's talk about buying games. GameStop is the best place to go for an average person. You go there, you can search around, you can tell them, I want the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, and they have to give it to you. It's great. I've seen videos where people are upset that they have to answer the dreaded question, what brings you in today? But just answer it like you're a human person and not socially awkward. It's not that hard. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was a game that eluded me. Every time I looked it up, it was being sold by third parties, and every time I went into GameStop, I would see the display copy, but that's it. Last year, I had enough of not owning Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and bought the last copy, the display copy. So now everybody knows how much I spent on it. That's private information. I remember going to GameStop on Black Friday 2019, when Pokemon Sword and Shield were the big releases. I went to the Switch section, grabbed the game I wanted, and headed to the counter. The employee, making small talk, asked, "So, getting Pokemon today?" And then he looked down. No, not today. That same Black Friday, I went to Target and got an Arcade 1-Up Marvel arcade cabinet. Arcade. It's a cool machine. It has a couple of Marvel fighting games and The Punisher. I learned to speedrun it during my high school business class. This was back when we all had to take classes over Zoom. And while recording it, it started drifting. At some point, I would love to have a collection of these in my basement, but they're expensive for something that's effectively a dust collector right now. There's also a Golden Tee arcade cabinet I would also like to get, since for some reason I like golf games, but I think they discontinued it, and it's also really expensive, so no thanks, not until I have a lot of disposable income. Remember Mario Golf Super Rush? Well, I bought it because of a joke. I missed the Nintendo Direct that announced it, and went to rehearsal for a play and talked to a friend about that Direct. He said a few things about what was announced, and at the very end, in a footnote of a sentence, he said, "Oh yeah, there's a new Mario Golf game." Yeah, I overreacted, and at that point my fate was sealed. I had to buy Mario Golf Super Rush. And I did. Woo!
The next best place to get games is Best Buy. They have a decent collection and you can just grab a game and take it to the counter. They have a lot of indie games too, ones from limited run, stuff that I don't even see at GameStop. Target, Walmart, and any store where you have to wrangle up an employee to unlock a game you're too embarrassed to say the name of is the worst.
Come on, I don't want to ask the person whose job it is to unlock games, to unlock Tokyo Mirage Sessions at the Sharp Encore, but what I was talking about was brick and mortar stores. What about online?
I've bought games from GameStop's website before, I'm brave enough to say it. I pre-ordered Catherine Full Body. 4 years later, hardly touched a thing. A game with a keychain, that's cool. I've also gotten games off of Amazon, like Okami, HD, Remastered, for Nintendo Switch. It turns out that they only ever made a physical version for Japan, so now I have a Japanese import. The icon on the Switch is the Japanese version too, that's neat. But I mainly use Steam now to buy games, since my computer is now strong enough to only cause a mild fire when trying to play games. I mainly buy the games when they go heavily on sale. I bought Doom 2016 for $5. I usually refrain from getting games until the Steam Summer Sale, the Black Friday sale, or the Winter Sale, where I try not to spend too much, then spend almost $100 every time and get games like Nights into Dreams, AI the Somnium Files, The Saiga PC, Turn Up Boy Commits Tax Evasion, and Succubus with Guns. This has only gotten worse because now I'm not only buying games I'm interested in playing, but now getting games I can make videos for. Do you really think that I, the man with zero rhythm, would have any reason to own Hatsune Miku Project Diva Megamix Plus, other than to make a video on it at some point? I bought half the Worm games in the Worms franchise sale because I thought people would want to play them with me in college, but I wouldn't be able to because I don't own Worms.
I hate worms.
But Steam is by far the best platform to buy games. It's so easy to browse, wishlist games, and buy them, especially with the constant sales. Look, I just bought Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order for $5. I don't even like Star Wars. You can truly do anything.
But by far, the worst experience I have ever had with purchasing a game was with American McGee's Alice. That is not a fake name, that is a real guy. So the game isn't being sold on any platforms by itself, but there are two options to get the game.
What I had to do was download Origin and then get Alice Madness Returns from there, which you can't do anymore. But the version on the store doesn't come with American McGee's Alice. That's DLC that you can't buy. The only way you can get the DLC is by purchasing Alice Madness Returns through Humble Bundle, which you can't do anymore. Then, you can download Alice Madness Returns and select American McGee's Alice in the DLC menu.
All that for a 20-year-old PC game.
That is the process that I went through to get the game last year. And now this year, the only way that you can even play American McGee's Alice is by owning an Xbox and an EA Play subscription. Subscription services are great. You get access to all these games for a bunch of money, and some are locked behind certain hardware, and sometimes you have to stream the game so anything with precise controls is off the table, and if your internet is bad, don't even think about it, and you don't even own any of the games. Not a big fan, to say the least. The best place I've seen for video games was The Exchange. This is a place I went to in Chicago, and they had music and movies, but also had a shit ton of games. They had retro games, new games, accessories, even consoles. This was the first time I've ever seen old school video game cartridges, like NES, Genesis, and N64 games. It's actually where I got all the games for my fitness video, and the Wii Bounce board. If I could, I would have stood there like a kid in a candy store for hours.
Back when I was 12 or 13, the Wii U was on the market, and I really wanted one. So I spent months saving up money to get one. One day I went to Best Buy with my mom and grandpa, and I expressed how much I really wanted a Wii U and how much I was saving up for it. And my grandpa went and got it for me, right then and there. It was really sweet and it was a really great gift, but I spent so much time saving up for it that I really wanted to get it for myself. That's something that I miss about buying games when you're young. You have no idea what's releasing and you save up all your money to get something. Sure, I could do that with the PS5 or the Steam Deck, but what am I gonna do, go without food for 4 weeks? That's not the same as having to do odd jobs around the house or mowing the lawns or raking leaves. Besides, now I have enough games where I don't need to buy anymore. Also, no space. Guess I'll just have to sleep with them.